Welcome back to another episode of NewOrleans.Football presented by PJ's Coffee. We're out at the Queen Casino here in Baton Rouge, one of our great sponsors. If you're going to bet on the Saints' future or whatever, come through here, place your bet, do it, just do it responsibly. And if you're going to come up here, you might as well drive in a car that you bought from my guy, Matt Bowers, best car dealer in the whole entire galaxy. Make sure you go and check them out. New pre-owned dealership up there on Vets, right below us, 3750 Vets. Make sure you go and check them out, buy your car there, get the best prices and all that stuff. And as always, we are presented by PJ's Coffee. What do we got today?
We got our first topic presented by Shawbear Insurance, the Earhart Agency. Let's continue the deep dive into the Carr injury and the ramifications of the injury and kind of what that means for the team going forward. One person who signed up new to the team, Kellen Moore, head coach, very important position. How does this injury to the person who was slated to be his starting quarterback in his first inaugural season as the head coach, how does it change his expectations? How does it change the expectations that we have for him and the expectations that he has for the team?
I think it changes everything. I think for Kellen Moore, the expectation is now that there really is no expectation because it's hard to place they should do this when the thing that's going to define every single offensive play remains undefined. And until they find a quarterback, I think it's impossible to say they should do this or they should do that. If it's Spencer Rattler, I don't think you go into the season with tremendous expectations for them to win 7, 8, 9 games. And if they're going into the season with one of these rookie quarterbacks, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck, I think it's the same exact thing. So it takes a whole lot of pressure off of it. I think they're in a grace period right now, honestly. And I think Saints fans would be willing to go through one rough season. I don't know if they're willing to go through two. But if you go through this draft, you don't get your quarterback and you want to go into 26 and look for it there, I think people are willing to accept that right now. Honestly, I think people are ready for the rebuild. So in a weird way, it might be a little bit of a blessing in disguise. I think the challenge for him is how do you establish your culture and all that if you're in a situation where you aren't winning football games. And I think the other thing for him is how does this change how he wants to go about doing his job? Because every single thought he had until a couple of weeks ago was built around this guy being his quarterback, and now it's starting over. It's starting from scratch.
Yeah, no, that's the point. I think that the fans are going to be willing to embrace the suck for a while, you know what I mean? Embrace being bad for a while if that constitutes the full rebuild that people have been clamoring for ever since Breeze left the building. They tried, and had chances at the beginning of the DA tenure, but I think the overall development throughout the whole time shows you, all right, it's time to start from scratch. It's time to just clear the slate and start over with. And the one thought that I keep on having is, how is this going to affect kind of what they do next year? Because he didn't draft Spencer Rattler, but now on paper, that's his starting quarterback. So will he go and draft another quarterback to build that up with? But the quarterback class isn't all the way hitting kind of where expectations are this season. Maybe try again with that next season. So you got that. And then also on top of that, you have the veterans who have been invested, who have been here for a long time. Cam Jordan, somebody who was in the playoffs with this team. Now you're going to tell them, you know what I mean? Take a year off, kind of like we're going to be bad. How do you kind of relay that to those older guys?
It is what it is. I mean, there's nothing that anyone can do about it. And it isn't anything. It isn't like the team sold him a bag of goods. Yeah. They thought Derek Carr was going to be on the team. So when Tyrann Mathieu re-signs or re-ups or renegotiates, when Cam Jordan renegotiates, they're doing it with the expectation that Derek Carr is going to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
I think they found out when we found out. I think a lot of the building found out when we found out. I think people in high-level positions found out when we found out. Now, I think there were people at the top that knew, but I don't think it was a trickle down through the building. Everybody knew this was going on. I think there's a couple people in that upper cabinet. I think the team doctors, and I think nobody else knew this was happening. So it just is what it is at this point. The quarterback doesn't want to play for whatever reason, whether he's hurt or whether he's upset about his contract. He doesn't want to line up and play right now, and he's considering getting surgery on an injury that he was able to play the whole season with. And until he comes out and explains it, it's going to look a certain way. It's going to smell a certain way, and it doesn't matter how much Febreze you spray on it. There's something here that needs to be addressed and cleaned up so that everybody knows what's going on. Or it is just that you want out. And if you want out, let him go. Let him go.
I think that's the safest way to play it, but you talk about an explanation. Do you think that will come from anyone, whether it's from Carr? Do you think it's going to come from Mickey next week when he speaks after the draft? Kind of, where's that at?
I think it's a situation where a lot of people probably don't want to ignite anything. So there could be a blanket statement. But I think if it is Mickey at the podium next week, I don't know if it's going to be Mickey. I don't know if it's going to be Kellen. I don't know if it's going to be Jeff Ireland. Whoever it is, it has to be like one of them three. It's going to be one of them three. It'll probably be Mickey or Kellen. My guess is probably that it is Loomis. It has been Loomis kind of recently. I think DA did it a couple times, though, too. But I think it'll be Mickey. I'm guessing it'll be Mickey.
I think DA went in 23 after they drafted Brzee. Because I remember the Pelicans were in the playoff then.
What's the lead in, though? So it would have been before they drafted Brzee. Either way, one of the two I'm guessing is going to be up there. I doubt it'll be Island. I'm guessing we're just going to get we don't talk about injured players. And I think that's going to be the explanation of it. And I think nobody wants to ignite it. I'm sure if Derek Carr ever ends up somewhere or on his YouTube channel or something, like they'll talk about it someday at some point. But I think it just kind of is what it is. And I'm sure Derek's story is going to be that his shoulder hurts. I mean, it isn't ever going to be I want it out of there or whatever. It's going to be my shoulder hurt and I needed to get surgery and I played through it and all that. It's just hard to understand. And it looks like it stinks. I mean, it just looks like it smells bad. And you know, until there's something else, it's impossible to see it another way because you are a player under contract that played your hand and tried to get out. You didn't get out, and now they told you got to stay. And it just feels like this is a reaction to that. And, you know, I think there's people that are a little bit closer to the situation than us that see it exactly that same way. Is that factually what it is? I don't know, but people see it the same way.
Collectively, the perception is
perception is the perception at this point. Yeah.
So kind of moving forward, because I mean, it's basically done. You said it's not certain that he's going to have surgery yet, but it's basically
he might not. He might. You know.
That's the overall thing.
Yeah. To me, it feels like whether or not he gets surgery, whether or not Derek Carr gets surgery, I feel like surgery needs to be done on the situation to remove Derek Carr from the situation.
Right.
To me, that's where it's at. Whether he's hurt or not, it just feels like it's run its course. It feels like it's done. It feels like it needs to move forward. It feels like it's time for the rebuild. And if you can get him back out there and he plays, I just personally don't want to see it anymore. I'm ready for to start over. I'm ready for the build to start. It's, you know, I think you can win games with him. I don't think he's ever been as bad as everybody thinks he is, my personal opinion. And it's immaterial at this point, though. I think it's time for him to go. I don't think he's someone you're winning a Super Bowl with. So whether we think he's 15th and someone thinks he's 20th, or we think he's 18th and someone thinks he's 26th, it's not above that threshold to where you're winning a Super Bowl. So to me, it's just time to step back, start over. And this is a good opportunity to do that. It's a good opportunity to go into this quote-unquote forced rebuild. Whether you wanted to embrace it or not, it's here. And I think it's just time to take it. It's time to get him out of here. I feel like it sends a bad message to bring him back in, and that's a crazy thing to say because he might have a legit injury. But it just feels like he wanted out, and now this is happening. And you got a lot of people looking at this right now like, man, what's happening here? Like, why are we tolerating this? I feel like it's a good opportunity for Kellen Moore to just be like, hey, look, you're all in, you're all out. Let's just move on. And there's a lot to consider here. There's a lot of money at play. He's been given a check. And the crazy thing is he had the injury guarantee, so this was happening. He could have made this happen no matter what.
Yeah.
It did, like, restructure or not, he could have just said, oh, I'm hurt, and you're in this position. So it just kind of it's a bad spot. He wanted out. You probably should have let him out. You didn't let him out. But he's also a professional football player who's being paid at market value or above maybe. It's definitely not less than what he should be being paid. You should be able to say, hey, man, like, we signed you to this. You signed the contract. We want you to do your job, and you should show up and do your job.
Yeah.
Like, I can sympathize with people who are underpaid and everything. I don't sympathize with this situation. And maybe it's because he's an unsympathetic figure a little bit, but it just – I don't feel bad for him.
And, no, I don't feel bad for him neither. And I think that phrase of being not painting him to be a bad guy, but like an unsympathetic figure in terms of you're compensated duly to what kind of like your level is or even a little bit higher. But it's just time for the clean cut. And Mike broke down on the website yesterday, like, the financial implications of what the split will look like. But just, it's time to just be over with it. It's time to just say, hey, that's it. Cut it off at the head and then let it roll around and die.
Yeah. And sign up for the website if you haven't read that yet. NOF saves 20% on the first payment. If you like the show, signing up to the site is the best way to support us. That's how we all eat. So sign up to the site, NewOrleans.Football/subscribe. Throw in the code NOF, 20% off your first payment. And if you like our show, there's extra shows there, all kinds of stuff. So make sure you're signed up for it.
For sure. Now, let's just say the head is cut off and that's it. It's over with. Derek Carr, no more. Spencer Rattler, the person who's on the roster right now. I'm not even talking about the draft next week on who they might pick, who they have in the building right now. What does he have to do to step up this offseason, going into training camp, OTAs, minicamp, all of that, to be that higher caliber starter? Where is his, for one, let's take this in two parts. Where is his tier at just coming in terms of the 1 through 32, maybe even 35 or lower? And then on top of that, what can he do to improve?
Yeah, no disrespect to Spencer. I think right now coming into the season, if you're tiering out the quarterbacks in the NFL, he's probably not in the top 32. There's probably a couple backups that you'd have to slot above him right now until he shows that he can go out there and win a game. Like, he hasn't won a game yet. So I can't put him ahead of, like, Joe Flacco, although I would probably rather have Spencer Rattler on my team. I'd rather try to find out what I have with him. So on, like, a hype meter, I think he's higher. I think on a curiosity meter, he's certainly – I'd rather try him than a few other guys that are starting quarterbacks in the league, because I think there's still some of that magic there, that unknown that this could work out to be better, but it could also work out to be worse too. There's no guarantee on it. And I think whatever dust or whatever he was hiding behind last year as far as mystery, I think some of that's out in the open now a little bit. So what does he have to do? He has to get more consistent. He has to find a way to be able to carry over the moxie he has in the first half of games and the second half of games. I think he needs to have the opportunity to play with healthy players too, just to be able to show some of that. But everything's got to be better. Every single thing he does has to be better. Decision making has to be a little bit better. There were some bad sacks. Just a lot of stuff that I think just needs to be cleaned up and polished. But I want to find out what it is, to be honest with you. Yeah. I would like him to draft a rookie quarterback, but I also want the opportunity to see him out there with everything. I'm just curious. I'm still curious. If we never see it, I'll remain curious about that for the rest of my life. It's just I want to know what he can do in this opportunity. I think that he's a guy that's built to try to seize the moment. I know he's excited about it, and we'll see where it goes from there. But, yeah, I mean, I just think it's a very generic answer, but I think just improve it, literally everything.
It's a generic answer, but that is the answer because there's so many unknowns that come along with that. Now, tying this topic up with how we started it, talking about Kellen Moore, if Spencer Rattler is your starting quarterback for all games, where's your record at right now? I know it's kind of hard to do because they haven't even drafted people yet, but
yeah, I think just because it's lacking some stuff and everything, and until we see the draft, I think you set the over under at like 4.5, 5.
Okay.
How about you?
He hasn't won a game yet, so I gotta go 4.5 and hold on to that a little tighter than going up to 5.
Yeah,
I don't think it's not that I don't think I can. I don't believe he can do it. He has a healthy line now. He has healthy receivers now, but I gotta set it at that.
Yeah, well, even independent of him, though, I can't bet on the O-line staying healthy. The O-line hasn't stayed healthy.
Yeah,
I can't bet on the receivers staying healthy. The top two guys haven't stayed healthy, and Brandon Cooks isn't someone that shifts anything for me. He's a nice insurance policy. I know I'm calling the Earhart agency when my car wrecks now, and that's better than having to call. Well, I'm not even going to slander anyone, but there's commercials out there or whatever.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But yeah, you got someone that has your back, but it isn't Matt Bowers offering you a new car if it goes down. So
right.
I think all that stuff. There's just a lot that has to improve, a lot that has to get better, a lot of depth that has to be built. Independent of that, all those variables, I'm still iffy on them. I don't think it'll ever be as bad as it was last year with injuries, but there's a lot that I need to see improvement on. And, yeah, he hasn't won a game. He hasn't played four consecutive quarters that you would want to put together as a performance yet.
Yeah.
And yet it was only a half a game, but you saw some magic at different time. Washington was a game where there was a lot of magic. So I still I still have some belief. Like, I would still be willing to sprinkle a little bit on that outcome, just not as much as I once was.
And then encapsulating the team as a whole. Would you say, I know because we just started talking about cars, so it popped in my head. Would you say that the check engine light is on right now?
For who?
For the team.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think they got to do some things to get it running. Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely, you're pulled over right now. Your motor just died. Like, whether you like the motor or not, whether it was smoking or you felt good going on a road trip or whatever,
Yeah.
like, it went out. Like, it just went out. So you're pulled over right now, and you got to figure out how to get that thing going again.
Let's roll into our next topic presented by Aaron Rose, kind of sticking with the Carr shoulder injury. If this would have been announced earlier this offseason, maybe before they picked a head coach, maybe not. Let's just go through all the scenarios. How does this change things?
It changes things a lot. I don't think it changes your ability to hire the coach, because I think whoever was taking this was seeing it as a temporary situation with the quarterback. I don't think anyone's committing to him. And while he changed his tune going forward, I go back to that first press conference, and it wasn't Derek Carr is my quarterback that I'm going to build this with.
Yeah.
It wasn't. And there have been private conversations. I think that Kellen Moore really did want to work with Derek Carr this season, but I don't think that he envisioned it as we're going to build this together. I think it was, I'm going to go in there with him. I'm going to win some games that first year. I'm going to establish my culture. I'm going to get my offense running. It's going to help me to get everybody else bought in and be on the same page. And then we're going to explore our options in April, and then next April, and then, the March after that. Like, I think that they were looking to get a different long-term answer, but I think he felt extremely comfortable with him as the quarterback this year, and I think he wanted him as the quarterback this year. I'm privy to phone calls that had happened. Like, he was trying to get him bought in and reassure him and all this stuff. So my information leads me to believe that he very much wanted him to be a part of this process this year. Beyond this year, I don't think anyone was looking 12 months down the road, but I think right now it felt like this was the best option. And I think any coach wants to win games.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone.
Course.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal.
And they aren't even in a position where you can just be like, this is the start of the rebuild. It was something that was going to be phased out over time. And, I think that's just where they're at.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was. Him established as a team culture, just like, okay, this is the baseline. This is how we do things. This is what it is. And basically kind of turn him into a cog in the system. And then, just like any machine, sometimes there need to be replacement parts. Take them out, plug somebody in, build that person up to where they need to be, and have the system keep on rolling. But the established baseline needed to be set, and he was going to be a part of that. And like locker room wise, I don't feel like Carr was a figure where it's like, oh, well, I'm not even trying to indict on Aaron Rodgers right now, but just like kind of what his media perception has been over the past couple of seasons of just distracting. Carr wasn't that in terms of personal life. Now, with these injuries, yes, but in terms of just like doing side missions and side quests and then it affecting the football, it hasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that definitely wasn't a distraction. Definitely wasn't. I mean, look, there were public things though on the field.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can't sit here and be like he wasn't a polarizing figure at times to people. There were definitely people who I think had issues. Nothing that I think was affecting the fabric of the team. And honestly, I think Derek was someone that, hey, the Eric McCoy thing happens. All right, this has to get fixed. I don't think he's someone that wants to have friction and issues with people. I think he's a person that wants peace, but I think how he moves just in general at times creates friction.
Yeah.
And not necessarily leading with it being in his DNA of I'm taking accountability for this. Or I think there was a public accountability at the podium, and then sometimes it got a little bit different behind the scenes. So, I can't say that he was a frictionless individual, and that's not my opinion. We saw it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And, I think there were people that certainly got rubbed the wrong way at times by different things, but I don't think it was ever to the point where it was a cancer. I think it was something that was treatable, and it got treated, but I think different people felt it different ways. I think the effect that people have from a distance is similar to the effect that it was up close.
Yeah, no, that first year was Because, I mean, and it was not to bring him into it, but DA, too, was kind of a part of that.
Well, November 2023, the story on our website, this team is not going to be good until Dennis Allen and Derek Carr take accountability and DA's giving them a pass. The headline on our site, November 2023.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that was one that pissed a lot of people off. Like, pissed a lot
truth,
of people off.
It was the truth.
It was the truth. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the truth. Like, he's out here yelling at Chris running around this, and that. Earlier in the season, he's fussing with Pete. Not Andrews, Pete Carmichael. And then after that, you got the offensive line kind of like Eric McCoy started hitting them up. Like,
yeah.
So the accountability thing, once that kind of got evened out, things were kind of cool. Like, winning cures all. I'm a believer of that. Those first 2 games of the season, you go in that locker room, everybody was all cool, chummy and stuff like that. But things start deteriorating, and I don't know. It goes quick.
Yeah.
It goes quick.
Yeah.
That's real talk. But continuing to go down there, do you think the highest kind of pursuit is re-signing Chase Young and Juwan if Carr is announced to be hurt earlier in this offseason?
Do I think they do something different at quarterback?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe so, yeah. This isn't a team that wants to rebuild. They just aren't. They're just a team that wants to keep trying to compete. I think compete in the current without taking away from the future. I think they were, trying to do both things. And I think there's a way to do that. I just think it's very hard to thread that needle. They might, theoretically, yeah. I think that there could have been a different path. It could have been the same, too. But I would assume they would have tried to do something to get a higher paid insurance policy in place or something, just like a 1 year something, tried to find something.
Yeah.
I don't think they do nothing at that position, though. I don't think there's a scenario where they do nothing if they know.
And then more broadly, do you think that bringing in Justin Reed, still is a top priority because there's so many priorities on this team, but in bringing in somebody like that, do you think he becomes that new base point of the defense and all those guys who restructure their contracts again maybe explore other options?
Well, yeah, I think there's definitely a possibility that, and I don't know anything here, but if I'm Cam Jordan, am I coming back for another year of this, or is it all right? Let me get my last year where I'm trying to win.
Yeah.
Well, let me have some odds at winning that aren't close to. Right now it feels like a 0% chance of making the playoffs. If I'm Tyron, do I come back? I don't.
Yeah.
I kind of think. Maybe both of them do. I kind of think both of their missions, and I think especially in the case of Tyron, I think Tyron's mission is a little bit bigger than football right now. I think Tyron's mission is about his community, being here, setting things up for beyond his playing career. And I think having his base operations here to do whatever he's looking to do when his career's over, I think it benefits him to be here because this is, I think, where he wants to do his work. And my hunch is when Tyron's career is over, he's going to do serious work for this community. So there's a good chance he comes back, maybe no matter what. And I think maybe Cam wants to finish where he starts too. But I certainly think when they were sitting home having conversations about what they should do, the idea of leaving at least becomes more heavily discussed on whatever it was, because this is not a place where you probably have a great chance of winning this year, and I think both those guys are in 1 year windows at this point.
Yeah, no, look, talking about just Tyron's off the field philanthropy and stuff like that, having the taste of the mouth of being a Saint to finish off, kind of, and then going into all of that, that bodes well for all of that. Just already being down here. Yeah,
and I think he can accomplish whatever he wants, probably from anywhere. But it's just his work. I think it just means a lot to him to do his work here.
Yeah.
I just think, and then being here allows you to build whatever. I don't know what his post career is going to be, but I know he's going to do big things, and whatever it is, it's just probably easier for him to operate from here than from, I don't even know where that.
Wherever there are 31 other teams out there, so wherever that.
Yeah, Philadelphia, wherever it would have taken him. Taken him.
We're gonna hit a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll have more show. Keep it locked to NewOrleans.Football.
Rouse's Markets is voted best grocery store in New Orleans, best grocery store in Baton Rouge, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, Thibodaux, Houma, Hammond, Lake Charles, Mobile, year after year. Thank you for choosing us best grocery store on the Gulf Coast. Number one. Thank you.
Thank you.
The number one grocery store
In Mississippi, Alabama,
Louisiana. 1 million customers a week can't be wrong. Welcome to Rouse's.
The NewOrleans.Football show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out. NewOrleans.Football is proudly sponsored by Urban South Brewery, the makers of Paradise Park Lager. I love supporting local breweries, and when looking for a refreshing, easy drinking beer, I always recommend Paradise Park. In fact, I think it might be the best game day beer out there. If you want something a little lighter, try Paradise Light. It's everything I love about Paradise Park with just 96 calories and 2.6 carbs. And if you're looking for a family-friendly place to watch the game, I'd recommend Urban South's Tap Room in the Lower Garden District. They've got 15 TVs, 30 unique beers on tap, and mouth-watering urban smash burgers. The whole family will want to make Urban South their new living room, because at Urban South, they take laid back seriously. Looking for the best insurance coverage at the lowest price? Look no further than Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency. They are a local independent insurance agency right here in New Orleans, specializing in home, flood, and auto insurance. At Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, their dedicated team will shop every available carrier in the market, ensuring you get the most comprehensive coverage at the lowest possible price. Why settle for less when you can have the best? Trust Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, to protect what matters most to you. I do. I've been a client of theirs since 2021. Call them today at 504-326-6526 or visit them online at Protected by Chabert. That's 504-326-6526. Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, your local insurance experts. Hard Hide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey is an 86 proof blend of aged wheat bourbon, American light whiskey, and fresh Ponchatoula strawberries. Blended in New Orleans, it is not for the thin-skinned. Look for it in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants. Attention Saints fans, don't let pests and termites invade your home field. Trust the team at Red Pest Solutions to tackle those unwelcome visitors. Call the Red Man today for unbeatable pest and termite control. Score peace with no pest. Visit redpest.com, REDDPEST.com.
Welcome back for more NOF. We're here at the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Make sure if you're up here and you want to indulge a little bit, make sure you check them out. Our next topic is presented by Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant and Bar. Nick, we just talked about the veterans, how their mind frame was, but now they are here. You see from the post from Monday with the start of the all-season workout that they're invested. You saw DeMario Davis. You saw Chris Olave, kind of older, but still you saw him there smiling, engaged. What does that mean that the veterans are investing in the off-season program this early?
Yeah, and I don't know who's all there or not. You can only see what's in those videos. But the fact that you got a bunch of those guys there, and I'm sure there's other ones. I mean, I saw a picture from Alvin's IG that he's in New Orleans, so he's in the area. So I don't know if he's there or not. But I think it's good. I think it's what you want to see. It's definitely you want to see that buy-in early on, that excitement, vets being there, setting the tone, all that stuff. If Kellen Moore has any type of shot at establishing his culture and everything, those guys need to be there, setting the tone, showing everybody, hey, this is what we do. This is how we do it. We're going to be here. We're bought in on this coach. We believe in him. So it's good to see him getting that early on, especially from some of the older guys that don't need to be there, that could very easily go work out wherever they go and work out.
No, for sure. I mean, even talking about second-year guys like Kool-Aid, somebody who has to be there, but growing a relationship with Alante now, as those guys are the top two. I saw them posting yesterday. They were doing like an ab circuit or something like that. And then even players who didn't finish off last season on a healthy note, Bub Means is there, doing stuff, making things happen. If you ever check out Bub Means' IG story, maybe one day he might miss, but almost every day you can see it, and he's posting him on some field saying, let's get to the Munyon. Now, that's an Atlanta thing, but still, let's get to the Munyon. That's like his big thing of always being visible, working on his craft, perfecting his craft. And I think it's huge that all of these guys are in there doing this so early. Now, a player who wasn't seen and probably kind of won't be seen because we don't know his status yet, Taysom Hill. Are there any updates with him?
No. And it's starting to get to the point that the silence is loud, I think. Only contract they didn't touch, coming back from that injury. Yeah, we'll see. I'm at we'll see mode now. So
on a meter, that's what? Orange, red?
I think it's yellow orange, somewhere right in the middle.
All right.
Right in the middle. I think before I was expecting it to be okay. Now I'm like, will it be okay? And yeah, I mean that's where I'm at with it. Yeah.
No, for sure, and that's the place to be. But also, we talked about Rattler earlier off to start this show. He's there. He looks like he's taking steps to kind of be a leader in terms of being down here. As soon as the injury stuff was announced, you check his IG story. Where is he at? He's back down here. I know he was working out in Arizona for a little while, but I mean, it might be false hope. It might be green, but however many games they win, it seems like they're all bought in together right now and looking forward to building this thing out together.
Yeah. We'll stick with the list of people we saw on those things. Yeah, I'm asking some questions. We'll stick with the people that we saw on that list of people at the beginning.
Yeah, nah, for sure. I mean,
yeah, Taysom isn't out there. We'll say that one for sure. Yeah, he isn't there.
Yeah. Is that Ridgeway? He let you know.
Yeah, Ridgeway was there, yeah.
Ridgeway was definitely there. He was letting y'all know he was there. But even people that they invested in, like Chase Young, visible. You know what I mean? Not just paying them the money and then they go off and do their thing. Paying them the money, they're there in the building, being visible, being, I think it bodes well. I think it bodes well for just the investment up front that people are putting in, but also the type of staff that Kellen Moore got in to build out his program. I think it's all important across the board. We're going to hit another break, and then when we come back, we'll have more show. And the question of the day, keep it locked to NewOrleans.Football.
Total Maintenance is one of the largest locally owned home and commercial service providers in South Louisiana and serve the greater New Orleans and Baton Rouge markets. They have a membership program that gets you 2 tune-up visits for AC and heating, as well as club membership discounts of 15% on all repairs, half off of all diagnostic charges, and 3-year warranties on most repairs for membership clients. This is usually priced at the low price of $24.95 a month per system, but if you tell Total Maintenance that you found them through NOF, they'll lower the price to $20.95 per month per system for as long as you keep the membership active. Services include AC and heating service and replacement, electrical service, plumbing service, as well as generator service and installation. They are Total Maintenance. Find them at tm-ac.com or give them a call at 504-841-3300, or if you're in the Baton Rouge area, 225-480-1000. You ever take a bite of something and immediately think, yeah, I'm coming back for this? Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant just added some new dishes, and man, they crushed it. The shrimp and crawfish pistolets, golden and stuffed with bold Cajun flavor. Fried oyster tacos, crispy, fresh with the perfect kick. And the soft shell crab Alfredo, creamy, rich, and absolutely worth the order. They're open 7 days a week, and they deliver late. Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant. Delicious food, superior service. Whether you are a local New Orleanian or a fan in town for the game, get your pre- and post-game fired up at Aaron Rose. Local chaos and local love for the black and gold. Wake up and live with daily drink specials, mimosas, screwdrivers, Bloody Marys, and hot or frozen Irish coffees, all just $3 or $4 between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Aaron Rose, half a block from Bourbon Street in the French Quarter, 811 Conti Street.
Welcome to the Queen Casino, the crown jewel of entertainment destinations. From the thrill of gaming, where every spin and deal brings you closer to fortune, to the excitement of sports betting, where you can feel the rush of victory. Our spaces and catering menu are perfect for any event. From business meetings to grand celebrations, immerse yourself in our vibrant atmosphere with live music that keeps the party going all night long. Join us at the Queen Casino. Your royal adventure awaits.
Welcome back to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. I mean, this is a beautiful spot, man. We're up here in the loft area,
really
kind of
nice
under
spot,
the
yeah.
1717 restaurant. They have TVs everywhere. You know what I mean? You can't miss a game if a game is on because they're going to have it on one of these TVs. The chairs.
No, it's a nice spot.
It's
a nice
hard,
spot.
man.
Yeah,
This spot is hard.
relaxed.
Shout out to
yeah.
them, man. This is really a nice spot. But let's get into our question of the day, presented by Hard High Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey. The Strawberry Fest was great, man. It was great. They had a booth out there. I went over there, see and check out what they had. But today's question comes from Joseph. What would you expect the scheme to be for Moore as the offense sits currently with Rattler? I know he's previously stated that he likes to build around his players' strengths. Same for the Staley defense.
Yeah, I think it's kind of to be determined, of course.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
But I think if you can get him working on rhythm, I think that's really the thing that's going to help him quite a bit. And then every now and then get some movement stuff going. But get that ball out fast. Just let him hit the back foot ball out. Just do what you do. That's kind of what Kellen's offense is anyhow. and then take your planned shots and be smart about it. But overall, how is he going to maximize them? I mean, that's all to be determined.
Yeah.
But I think anything you can do to take the weight off of him as that year 2 quarterback drafted in the 5th round, I think it helps. And I just think if you can make it move fast, get the ball out quickly, take your play action shots where they make sense, I really think that's the key to it. I mean, that's just how you play football in 2025 anyhow.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I really do feel like with Rattler, he can be, because this might be his best situation going into a season that he's had for a minute. At Oklahoma, he came in, was the guy, then he got booted out. Then he went to South Carolina, but then they had to deal with so many moving pieces in there. Last year, 5th round pick, it wasn't slated to be a starter. Just
For 8 days, though. It's the best situation for the next 8 days.
Also
it
true.
might not be his situation by Thursday at 10 o'clock or whatever.
No. Oh, this dude, man, it always, you're right.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. Because I don't know, he's a fighter. Let's pivot then. He's a fighter. He's been in these positions before. I think if it came down to it, he'll throw a good right hook, but we'll see if he can consistently keep that up.
What time's the draft start? 7 o'clock?
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
What is it, in Green Bay? So, Central.
I don't think I think he'll be fine until Friday, but I mean, it's definitely possible it could be late Friday though. But I think he'll be okay at like 8:40 when they pick.
Yeah.
Like I think he'll be okay still. But yeah, maybe by the end of the night he won't be if they trade back up, or by 40. It's definitely not his situation though yet.
Yeah. It's not
it is on lease. He don't own it yet. Yeah.
Can't peel the plastic off this one yet, man. I might have to bring it back.
Yeah, not yet. Tuck that tag in. Yeah.
Nah, real talk. But then on defense, Staley kind of has it set how he wants. He's probably going to add a couple of pieces in the draft. Kind of where do you think scheme-wise that's
I mean, we know what that's going to be. They're going to try to run the 3-4, the pattern match zone defense.
Yeah.
I think those are just the things he is. Maybe Jalen Ramsey after the draft, if you don't get someone, all of a sudden that kind of makes a little bit of sense. He had success with him, so we'll keep an eye open.
Keep an eye open. Make sure you continue to keep an eye open on NewOrleans.Football. Make sure you're subscribed to the site. Use code NOF for 20% off your first payment. And as always, we'll catch you next time.